Welcome in, Iowa Hawkeye fans, to another episode of the Hawkeye Tailgate Report. I'm Luke Myers. We got Joey and Stin here. We recorded last week, actually halftime of the Rutgers game, and we were doing terrible up until that point. But since then, we've rattled off 3 straight wins, and we've looked night and day better. So, how are we doing?
I'm doing real good. It's always fun to kick the crap out of Wisconsin, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That Bo Ryan.
Yeah, he sucks. In other news for me, I got my second COVID shot today, so that's pretty cool.
Your white privilege is showing, Austin.
Yes. I have not sprouted any new fingers or toes, but I have lost an inch in an area where that's just it's unfortunate. So
looks like I'm not getting the vaccine. Can't afford.
Can't gamble with that.
Yeah,
can't afford
it was
that.
It's been a tough break, and that's like we're talking on 8 hours of loss right now. We haven't even slept it. So tomorrow morning might be not great.
Really though, I am getting the vaccine.
Yeah. In all seriousness, please get it if you're offered it.
Yes, today I just got I text you guys this. I got an email for season ticket for Iowa football, and I will do whatever to make sure we can tailgate. Whatever it takes to make sure we're allowed to tailgate next fall outside of Kinnick Stadium and go to games. So,
yep, I don't need to go to the games, as you all know, but I sure like tailgating.
Yeah, tailgating is pretty great. Going to a game in the bar with just like 1,000 other drunk people, it's always a great experience. $1 Busch Lights at Summit never fails.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like that buzz of walking up to the first tailgate of the year. Everybody's in such a good mood.
Then you just, in like 10 minutes, you have a couple beers done. By the end of the hour, you're starting to brown out.
Yeah, the classic walking down Melrose with a Walmart bag full of Busch Lights.
The Austin Myers.
That never gets old.
Is there any way we can turn on the Michigan game?
What channel is it?
Don't know.
Okay,
I need to do some scouting. I haven't watched them yet this year.
All right, so getting back to basketball. So we beat Rutgers. I don't even remember how that game went. What did we win by, like 12 or something? We won by...
It was a comfortable victory.
Yes, and since then, Rutgers hasn't looked good. I believe Joey called them they were number 25 when we played them, but...
They were a fraud-ranked team.
Okay.
Rutgers is just a team that should never be ranked.
So on
merit.
Before tonight, our best 2 wins were Rutgers, though.
No. I think you're forgetting about Purdue.
Oh, Purdue,
Is Purdue ranked?
They were for a little bit. They were flirting with it.
We also beat Northwestern while they were ranked.
Yeah, we're tied we're number one in the nation in
6 ranked wins.
Top 25 wins, but...
I know Michigan State shouldn't technically count as a good win, but that always feels like a good win.
No kidding.
When you hand Tom Izzo his worst home loss in his career at Michigan State, that's a pretty satisfying victory.
We beat Tom Izzo and Bo Ryan in the last week. Bo Ryan's ghost will forever roam that sideline to me.
He'll always be an asshole.
Even though he's not dead.
Yeah, okay, so... Last time, we were super negative on the podcast. I listened to it, late last week.
I told, halfway through, I was like, guys, we're being just, super downers.
Well, we were,
okay.
The world was coming to an end last week.
We were playing like shit at the time, but I think that we also kind of let our, irrational fandom kind of take over our perception of what this Iowa team was doing outside of taking, a step back and be like, yeah, you know what? It's not like we were getting blown out in losses.
Yeah, but I think we were frustrated because of other reasons. Because the only person playing well was Wieskamp, and Fran was just not coaching well.
That's where a lot of the negativity and frustration was coming from. Is just we lost games because coaching was kind of suspect, but there's no better way to flush out all that negative energy and just bullshit than by rattling off 3 straight wins, and especially when 2 of them are against ranked opponents, even if one of them is fraudulent, and then just absolutely kicking the crap out of Michigan State. I mean, doesn't really matter what happens before that. That'll put you in a good place mentally.
Serious question. Okay, is Wisconsin frauds?
Yes.
They can't
Nobody
shoot
on their
the
team
ball.
impressed me tonight.
Yeah, they're not a good shooting team. And
would you like to do your weekly tangent?
I think everybody that listens to this knows where I'm going with this, but Wisconsin's version of basketball stinks. it is so boring and unfun to watch. Hey, guys, let's score 59 points a game. Fuck that. Like, how can you be a Wisconsin fan and be like, I'm excited to watch the game tonight? Because it's going to be like, oh, final score, 64-53. Like, there's nothing enjoyable about watching that game. Like, it sucks. It's not fun. They always have a couple guys on their team that I just want to punch right in the face. Pretty much their whole roster this year, especially Davison. I'm surprised that he didn't try hitting anybody in the nuts tonight, because that's his classic move. He's usually due for about 2.7 of those per game. But, yeah, we've talked about, Iowa's defensive struggles. But if you're going to suck at one end of the court, it might as well be on defense, because watching offense is so much more exciting than watching defense. I've never once been like, fuck yeah, I'm ready to watch a good defensive basketball game tonight. But when I was out there filling it in from 3, that gets you going.
Yeah, and so I think Wisconsin's like 14-8 now or something like that. Probably going to fall out of the top 25, I'd imagine. Clearly not on the top tier as like Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, and Ohio State. And
this win was also huge for us tonight because Iowa was 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament standings right now, half a game ahead of Wisconsin, so he gave us some separation to kind of hopefully cement a spot into that double bye position.
Well, nothing's cemented.
Well,
yet.
I'm just saying it really helps, move the case forward now that we've got, a full game and a half over Wisconsin.
Yeah, and do you guys have any notes from the other 2 games? Because I don't really. I mean, we kicked the shit out of Michigan State. But
just that Wieskamp has been
flaming.
First and second half Wieskamp rather than just first or second half Wieskamp, and that's huge.
I don't think that there's anybody in the country that's shooting the ball better than him right now.
Was he 50%? Did he make another one?
I think his season total, it's either 49 or 50%, but in his last 9 games, he's shooting 62% from 3. He has 3 straight games with 5 made 3-pointers, and it's not like he's getting the wide open variety. He's stepping back, guy in his face, just burying them, and they're big time shots too. Towards the end of this game, Wisconsin was trying to make it close. It was 4 points, and it seemed like Davison had hit a couple threes, and just bang, Garza hit that 1 3, then Wieskamp with a defender in his face hit another one. It just feels like, I was saying in the last podcast when we were being all negative, I was like, there doesn't feel like there's the closer guy on this Iowa team. You need a shot, this person's going to take it. Wieskamp is that guy right now. He's playing more confidently than I think he ever has, and he's just he's dominating games, and he is fun to watch right now.
We've all been critical of him this season and last season, honestly, and deservedly so, but it's never been a talent thing for him. It's always been he's getting shots that he could put up, but he's not putting up, or he's only being assertive from one half. And now he's shooting with hands here, right in his grill, and he's capable of making those shots, which is, maybe now that he's seeing, oh, I can do this for a whole game, and I can make this shot with a hand in my face, that's getting him in the mental state to be
I
look
think
out.
For him, it was never a question of ability. It was a mentality thing that kind of held him back, where he would have dominant halves or 2 or 3 game stretches where he was great, but then he just was very passive. He's not that Wieskamp right now. He is taking the game to it. He's not waiting for it to come to him, if that makes sense.
So I have a couple of Wieskamp notes. He was 6 of 9 from the floor tonight.
Nice.
Classic.
And what has been I think Joey's biggest criticism, arguably, about Wieskamp?
The one step in front of the 3-point line too.
Yeah, and he was 5 of 6 from 3 tonight. So maybe he's finally stepping out that last step.
It's a more makeable shot too to take one step back, because you presumably you practice threes. You don't practice shots right inside of the 3. As much.
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes that shot. If you're shooting from that distance, just make it a 3. It's worth it in the long run. Other thoughts from the Michigan State game. We kicked the crap out of them, and Garza only scored 8 points.
Yeah.
That has got to
and
make
Frederick didn't play.
Yeah, Frederick didn't play. If that doesn't make you feel good about what this team is capable of down the stretch, I don't know what will. Because you can say, literally, the best player in the country is going to win, is going to score 8 points in a game that Iowa wins on the road by 30 at Michigan State. I mean, when this offense is clicking, there aren't a whole lot of teams in the country that are able to stop them. And Wisconsin shot poorly. They only shot 30% from the field tonight. Missed a whole bunch of shots. But if Iowa can play a level of defense close to what they did, they're going to be a very tough outcome tournament time.
Yeah, and we got to give a shout-out to Nunji for the Michigan State game. It was probably the best game he's ever played. He had 18 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. That's quality minutes right there. That gives you a lot of confidence if you could play half as good as that for next year.
We need to see that on a way more consistent basis. But
also, I mean, he's he doesn't get huge minutes because Garza's just in there. Basically, Garza comes out if he's in foul trouble, which doesn't happen very often, or for a minute before a scheduled media timeout. So it's not like he's sitting for long stretches where Nunji has to be in there to kind of fill it up, because there's so many good scorers around the rest of the team, like Joe Wieskamp. Jordan Bohannon has done it in stretches. Frederick, when he's healthy, can put it out there. Keegan Murray scores. There is pretty much there's always at least 2 legitimate scoring threats on the floor for Iowa at any given time.
Do you want to hear his averages this year? They're kind of good. Why?
I think he's been good this year.
Well, he's been getting a lot of minutes because there's a lot of times Lucas sits out a whole half
So he's averaging 17 minutes a game, and he's almost at 8 points. He's at 6 rebounds. His shooting number, he's an 82% foul shooter and almost 30% 3-point shooter.
Which,
considering he's at 12%.
Considering where he started, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely gotten better as the season has progressed. But
he banked in that ugly 3 in the second half tonight.
Count it.
Yeah.
Something that worries me about the games, even though we're winning a couple of these, teams are shooting Wisconsin shot 30% tonight. A lot of those were wide open shots. And we're not winning these because we're playing good defense necessarily. Teams are just missing a lot of shots.
I would argue, we absolutely are playing better defense.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying it's not I don't know. There's still a lot of shots. Teams aren't going to shoot 30%.
Our last four games, we lost at Indiana, but only gave up 67. We beat Rutgers, only gave up 66. We beat Michigan State, only gave up 58. And we beat Wisconsin, only gave up 62. And I get you're saying they missed a lot of shots. Yeah, but you got to credit the defense. It's not like you can strip all of that, because they've certainly been playing more man-to-man.
I didn't say all of it. I said it's sort of concerning. I'm not saying that we lose all those games. I'm just saying...
Well, okay, yeah, but we won... the
teams
smallest margin of victory was 13 points. So that, even if they make 3 more shots and their 3-pointers, it's still,
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying is we haven't yet won a game because of our defense.
No, but
I don't agree with that logic, though.
I do, but at the same point, you came into the season, you're that was kind of what the expectation was anyway. Nobody came out here and said I was going to beat you with their defense. It was always they're kind of just going to fill it up on the offensive end, and it's going to be your struggle to try and keep up with them. I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but also at the same point, that's just not the team that I was built to be, to win a game strictly because of their defense.
I know, but the thing is, though, they played some of these really good teams. They're not going to win a game just because of their offense either. Against we saw it against Gonzaga, and
we could have won that game because of our offense, because we still put up 90 points, I think, or something.
Could have, but that's when the defense comes in. If your defense did anything that game, you win.
I don't know.
Jalen Suggs was shooting from the logo.
Right, because nobody can guard him. Nobody on our team can guard him.
You can't guard somebody on the logo, though. That just doesn't make sense.
He was not shooting all from the logo.
A lot of his shots were several feet behind the arc.
But who guards him? Who's guarding him?
Well, in the first game, Bohannon.
Can't guard him.
Yeah, and we've seen more of Ulis.
What do you mean in the first game? As if we played them a second time?
We're gonna. No, we've seen more of Ulis, we've seen more of Perkins, and we've seen more of Joe T. Although Ulis and Perkins didn't play tonight.
They didn't need to.
Yeah.
Our defense, they come in if we need defense energy guys. That just wasn't needed tonight.
Well, I felt they kind of implemented a more over like before this game. Like,
yeah, they've been getting some more minutes for sure, but like tonight was just an example of one that they didn't really need to come in. Didn't have to go very deep in the bench.
Yeah.
I'm very confused with CJ Frederick's situation. I understand that like the nature of whatever his injury is, because all they're saying is, kind of lower leg, that it's like a day-by-day type of thing where some days he feels better, some days he feels worse. But at the same time, it also seems like he's playing one game, then has to sit the next game. Plays one game, has to sit the next game. And I suppose if, like, on any given day he says, hey, I feel good enough to go, that's good. But also, isn't it more important to have him available for tournament time? And if that's the case, I feel like you kind of take the sacrifice of him sitting, 3 or 4 games in a row to make sure that he's fully healthy for Big Ten and NCAA tournament, because that's when he's going to be needed the most.
That's exactly what I told my Aunt Jeannie today. I said,
you don't need him.
You don't need him now, especially now that you've seen Wieskamp step up, and tonight you see Garza back in a big way. You don't need CJ Frederick to beat some of these teams, especially coming up. Who do we got? We got Penn State.
Penn State's Sunday, and then we have a break.
Yeah, so you can give him close to 2 weeks before we actually need CJ back on the court. So do not play. I would not play him against Penn State. I don't care if he feels good after this game or not. Just rest him. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, sit him, bring him back for maybe the last 2 games before the Big Ten tournament.
God.
But yeah,
that was bullshit. That was
yeah, it was.
Okay, but and he hasn't, like, I know he's valuable on defense and stuff when he's out there too, but like he only had 5 points tonight. He only took 4 shots. We like to see him shoot a lot more, and he just doesn't. I don't think have it yet.
One of his shots was a force up, head throw it up at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like, obviously, yes, it's nice when he's scoring and just banging threes, but I think a bigger component of his, like, contribution to the success of Iowa's offense is the threat of CJ Frederick. If you've got a 50% three-point shooter hanging out there around the line, you can't just not guard him. So, like, when he's on the floor, if, he's out on the wing and they pass it into Garza, the guy that's guarding Frederick can't just automatically collapse and double onto Garza, because just the threat of Frederick being able to knock down threes is enough to keep teams away from, like, selling out defending other people.
How many 45+% 3-point shooters do we have on the team?
Luka, Joe W.
I think Luka's at like 42% or something on the season.
Really? I thought he was closer.
He was at like 49 for a while, but I believe tonight I saw that he was at 42.
CJ and Joe for sure. So,
yeah.
I mean, even look at over 40%. We have our shooters are lights out. I didn't even realize that Wieskamp was shooting that well from 3 until I saw that graphic earlier this week.
Luka's at 43%.
He'll get there.
He could, but yeah, no, if we're making threes, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to lose against, I'll say it, anybody. Joey.
Defense has to be there if you're going to beat anybody.
Well, yeah.
You got to be a complete
absolutely.
team.
No, I agree with that 100%. I'm not saying that's not the case, but
And I think there's couple offenses out there that right now that are better than us. So we.
Oh yeah, I'd take both Baylor and Gonzaga's offense, but
Baylor's not really. They're more of a defensive team.
Well, I'd still take them against us.
yes,
Head to head, I would, like, if we're just saying, like, we're just taking their offense or just taking their defense, like, Baylor's defense is what makes them, like, as good as they are. Their offense is not bad, but they're not known for being, like, an offensive-minded team.
Who do you think was the leading scorer for Wisconsin tonight? I just looked at their numbers here.
I mean, Davison was banging threes at the end of the game, but based on the way that you said that, it's probably somebody that we don't expect.
Was it Brucewitz?
Right.
I honestly watched that whole game. I couldn't tell you anybody on the team besides Davison.
I just
There's a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
That's
some guy by the name of Micah Potter popped off. He had 23 points and 11 rebounds.
Oh, is that number 5?
I think he's number 11.
Yeah, he's number 11.
Oh, number 5 had a weird-looking shot. I made a joke about that Potter guy. Called him Harry's brother.
Ha.
You guys are both probably...
No, I said
No.
that.
Did we both say the same joke and not hear... each other say it?
It must have. Because I remember saying it.
Weird.
I thought would have gotten a laugh from Austin at least.
It's a pretty terrible joke.
All right. Number 5 is Tyler Wall, by the way. You could have put a list of 3 names in front of me. That wouldn't have been the one I picked.
He get named via random name generator.
All right. So, looking ahead here. Penn State Sunday.
Dub.
No, that is a trap game. That's as in the history of Iowa basketball. That's about as trappy as it gets. And then we get real fun here. At number 4 Ohio State, at number 3 Michigan, home Wisconsin.
I'm not scared of Ohio State.
I'm not scared of Michigan.
They're losing to
Oh,
Rutgers.
great! So we're gonna win out.
I was gonna say I think you guys are undervaluing Michigan and Ohio State.
Michigan is currently losing to Rutgers, Austin.
By like 4 points,
And we beat them twice.
First half.
Yeah.
It's college basketball. I mean, usually the team ahead in the first half always wins.
No. Iowa had like double-digit first-half leads in like all of the games that
I
it
was
lost
joking.
in the past month. Well, you know what? It wasn't a good joke, Joey.
Well, you're not good at reading the room.
This is a podcast of facts.
Facts, opinions, and yeah, but so
It's gonna be a murderer's row coming down the stretch, but at the same time, that's kind of how you want it to be. You're gonna find out how good Iowa truly is coming into tournament time. I mean, you win 2 or 3 of those, you're feeling very good. You know, 1 of 3, not horrible depending on how the losses are. 0 for 3, and you're kind of shitting yourself a bit. But I think it's good. It's gonna be good for the team to have high level competition going into the tournament.
yeah. I mentioned this earlier tonight, and I don't know if Joey heard me or not, but I said in the years like in 2015 and 2000 and Devin Marble's year when we got to number 3.
I believe that was 2015.
There was 2 years, and then we got hot early. We got to number 3 in the country early, and then the first time around we lost 8 in a row. The second time around we lost 5 in a row. We just peaked too early those years. And I said, I don't know if we've reached our peak yet this year. Because, yeah, we did start 12-2. But looking back on it now, we beat a bad North Carolina team who was ranked at the time. And that's it. We lost to Gonzaga, who was the only really tough game we had. And then we killed Iowa State, which they're winless in the conference.
Yeah, they're 2-12 or like 2-13 right now. Things you hate to see.
Although
credit
to them, they're about to make history. They're about to be the 3rd Big 12 team to go winless in conference play, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, so look at them. Credit to them.
Hey. What happened there?
Well, so they're still setting a record.
Hey, and it looks like prom's gonna get canned. Also, a lot of people are unhappy.
Oh yeah,
Prom is canceled.
Print the shirts. Print the shirts.
And I am definitely saying that wrong on purpose. Prom.
Yeah.
Potato, tomato.
I don't think you understand how that saying works, Luke.
And I saw that some Iowa State fan was chirping Iowa fans the other day about Fran's success compared to Prom's. And yeah, Prom, I think he made it to 1 Sweet 16, but that was with Fred Hoiberg's players. And then he's been terrible since then. And Fran McCaffrey has a way better winning percentage since Prom came to Iowa State. So it's fine.
Yeah, I don't get into trying to chirp other teams' fan bases on Twitter. It's just you gain nothing out of doing it because somebody's always like, "Hey, look at this idiot." I don't know.
There's somebody exactly like you from a different fan base
Oh, sure.
that thinks the exact same thing about themselves.
It's not worth my energy to engage in that because you never win an argument on Twitter. There's always somebody else to be like, well, actually, or they find some type of stat or some type of... Eventually they'll just attack you personally like the Tennessee fans did, Luke.
Yeah, that was fun. That's how I knew they had lost.
But they won.
Well, they won the game. The moment you start directly attacking somebody's appearance or shit like that.
What did they call you? One insult in particular.
No, yeah, you tip your cap.
Funny.
They called me a lesbian Drew Carey. which
That is-
you can't
That is fucking classic.
shake hands.
What
and
a
call it
fucking
day.
roast.
Yeah, but no, a bunch of them were calling me, I think, fat pieces of shit, and it was just fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, I don't
and that was after I'd lost 100 pounds too, so I'm whatever.
I don't know. Honestly, Twitter kind of sucks. Like, everybody's
It
out.
does.
Like, there's some good jokes out there, but for the most part, just like, hey, I'm just going to shit on people all day long. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sponsors.
Oh,
think
yeah.
is what Joey
I
was
know.
trying to say.
I could,
Do ya?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we were in the middle of a conversation there, but
I didn't say anything out loud either.
Yeah,
you just stopped.
You went.
Well, you always forget to do the sponsor, so I always have to remind you.
No, well, that's fine. You can always. That's your. Just you should have just brought them up. So we're done with
That's
that
your job.
conversation then.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, we could go much deeper into just, like, the effects of social media or whatever, but I don't think anybody really particularly wants to hear us talk about that and get all preachy, so I think it's probably best if we just kind of move on from that.
All right. Well, we'll tease what we have coming up then. We have the draft, or is a power ranking of...
It's not necessarily either of them, it's just kind of more like a conversation, I would say. It's kind of more free-flowing.
Of people we hate, or types of people you hate.
Yeah, it's not like specific individuals, it's the type of person.
All right. And then do we have something else too, or no?
Well, no, I think there's kind of like...
oh, yeah. I remember.
Well, I was just going to say, like, there's kind of a lot of, like, Iowa athletics kind of stories going on right now that we should definitely touch on.
After our sponsors. That's how it's done in the business.
I said,
No.
okay. As you're about to literally, like, make up an ad read on the spot.
Oh, well, that's what we do best usually. So we don't have any of Wesley's meat cooked tonight.
It's a goddamn shame.
Well, actually, should we tell him why? Well, I don't know about you guys. I'm trying to cut back a little bit because we just planned a trip to Florida next month. So, trying to cut back and lean down a little bit.
I don't know. It'd take a lot of dedication to make a noticeable difference in that amount of time, so...
Hey,
I was going to say.
I've done it before.
It's like that the video of the person just, like, running like a maniac on the elliptical. That's, like, getting my beach bod in 30 days.
All right. So, Rolling Hills Pork out of Farley, Iowa. Wesley Henderson's the man you want to talk about. He's hooked us up with so much meat, some of his best meat over the last month and a half or so.
I've never been disappointed with Wes's meat.
Nope, it's nice, thick, juicy, just the way you want your meat, you know? He's given us pork chops, some bacon, some brats. All around, I mean, perfect. Like, I think we talked about it last time, how Joey and I aren't exactly big fans of pork chops, but those pork chops we cooked the first week,
they're fucking awesome.
they were perfectly done. They were perfect cuts of meat.
A good, like, bone-in pork chop is an Iowa delicacy if you make it right. And when you're getting such high-quality meat that Wes Henderson and Rolling Hills Pork provides, there's not a whole lot better in the world.
You know what I've never gotten on board with or understood? Pork chops and applesauce. Isn't that like a staple or something?
I think it just got, like, pork and apples kind of goes together. So, I don't know. So if we're talking about things I don't really understand, cinnamon rolls and chili. What is...
I
What's
saw
so
that
good
the other
about
day
that?
for the
Yeah.
first time. I've never seen it before.
People are, like, claiming it's an Iowa thing, and I don't really think that's the case because I've never encountered anybody in my life that's eaten that. So if anybody's listening and eats cinnamon rolls and chili on a regular basis, just kind of tweet at us and let me know what I'm missing out on because I don't understand that.
Also, let us know where you're going to commit your next murder. Because you're a psychopath.
All right, so that's Wes Henderson with Rolling Hills Pork. Phone number 319-461-5520. And you're going to whip that meat up on a Phoenix grill from Demer Oil.
You just love whipping your meat.
Oh, man, do I love whipping my meat. Do you want to do you have another oil joke this week?
I mean, I can look them up pretty easily.
The one you had last week wasn't a very good oil joke.
So, okay, to be fair, I said that I was doing it on the spot, so... You know, I was reading it as I was telling it, so you know I didn't know what it was going to be. It turns out it wasn't really an oil joke at all.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But Demer Oil, they have everything you need: propane, petroleum, lube, for your frisky nights with the lady. I'm just kidding. It would probably work, but that's not the lube you were looking for.
I think you might get an infection.
Yeah, It's probably not good for your health. I can't imagine.
We'll test and get back.
Not with each other. All right, you gonna drop your joke?
Yeah, I got an oil joke. This one was short, so I was able to preview it. It's actually oil related.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of got to think about it a little bit, okay?
Damn it.
All right. I feel bad for the man who died from drowning in oil. Such a crude way to die.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Okay. So yeah, they have all those different oils and lubes and whatnot. They got Phoenix grills set up, ready for you to take home and start cooking away right away. Locations all over eastern Iowa, mostly Dubuque County. So go check them out. What?
All over eastern Iowa, mostly Dubuque County.
Yeah. Their phone number is 1-800-433-3835, and their website's DemerOilInc.com. You're going to want to try and find Whitey or Toby Demer and have them hook you up. All right. So,
You still laughing about that joke?
No,
Okay.
something else.
Damn.
so what are we going to move to here? You want to talk about Caitlin Clark a little bit?
Yeah, just kind of. I think that there's a lot of Iowa, like other sports, topics that we can definitely talk about that we haven't really spent a whole lot of time on lately. Like
wrestling's still out, right?
Nope, they are back to being able to have activities. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
their duel for this week was postponed again, but they're back to having team activities, which is big. Yeah, basically, as long as they can manage their COVID situation for the best of the year, they're going to win the national championship. That lineup's an absolute buzzsaw. They have 3 wrestlers that are like unanimously ranked number 1. Spencer Lee is on a mission to just like break the will of every 126 pounder in the country. It's just, yeah. I'm not saying that it's good that they got COVID, because it's not. It sucks mostly because we haven't been able to see 2 duels that we would have been able to. Especially the one against Penn State, which is, the one that everybody looks forward to every year. But if it was going to happen to the team, it's better that it happened when it did, as opposed to, like 3 weeks from now, because then the whole NCAAs are, like, totally in question. And basically, as long as they're able to show up this year, they're going to win.
Now, I'm not going to act like I'm a big wrestling fan, like I know about Iowa wrestling and the wrestlers and whatnot, but how is Penn State number 3 behind Michigan?
I don't know. I don't follow Penn State super close. Michigan just has like a good team this year. They have a really good heavyweight whose name I don't know, but he's good. Penn State was an absolute buzzsaw for like the last decade, especially because they had really good 56 pounders and up. They were like really good at the middle to upper weights, and they just had some like historically good guys come through, and they're kind of just reloading right now. So that's part of it. Also, like Iowa and like other schools have just recruited very well in the last couple of years. So like some guys that Penn State would normally got kind of fell into other schools. It's not really a knock on Penn State as a program because they've been the benchmark in college wrestling for the past decade, but hopefully we're kind of back into a period of normalcy where Iowa's in the driver's seat and everybody else is kind of looking up to them.
Yeah, I'd assume so, but other than that, not a lot of wrestling news because nothing's been happening.
I think it was really stupid of COVID to infect Tom Brands.
No.
COVID picked a losing battle there.
You lose that battle 9 times out of 10.
I'd say 10 times out of 10 with him.
And then women's basketball, they're kind of hot and cold. They'll probably make the tournament. Caitlin Clark, okay. She is going to be the record holder for everything, correct?
Well, I mean, scoring for sure. Like,
she had 17 assists today, I think.
I think it'd be difficult for her to be the all-time leading rebounder. Like, she is. Just, it's crazy to think about like the level of dominance that Iowa has in its athletic department right now. Like Luka Garza, best player in the country, men's basketball. Caitlin Clark, definitely best freshman in the country, probably like in the conversation for best player. Spencer Lee, best wrestler. Like, Appreciate it now when you have it, because it's not very often that Iowa has like these top tier athletes all at the same time.
Oh, believe me, I lived through some terrible years. But like last year, Kathleen Doyle, Big Ten Player of the Year for the women. Year before that, Megan Gustafson, Big Ten Player of the Year. I mean, Caitlin Clark has to win Big Ten Player of the Year, correct? Like her numbers, she's fourth in the country in scoring.
As a true freshman.
She's on the Wooden watch list or whatever. As a true freshman.
Is it called the Wooden list for the women?
Naismith? I don't know. It's the National Player of the Year watch list.
Well, wouldn't you think that they named that after like a woman?
No. Because it kind of falls into the Basketball Hall of Fame thing where there's no women or men's. It's just college, NBA, which I kind of like that. But, Caitlin Clark, an absolute baller. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her her last name.
I think it's... I'm going to...
It's like CZ something, right?
I think it's... No. I
know
it in my head.
Swimmy, Samsonite.
I know it in my head, but getting it out of my mouth is tough. It's like...
No, but she's leading the country in field goal percentage, I found out the other day, too. Because I was looking around the statistics on ESPN.com at the women's game. So I was surprised by that. But yeah, she's a badass. She won freshman or Player of the Week or Freshman of the Week this week.
Player. She's not a freshman.
Oh, sorry.
Valid question submitted by Grandpa Johnny. What's with the towel on the coach's shoulder?
So they talked about it a little bit during the game. I didn't quite catch it, but it was he was honoring one of the first black coaches in the Big Ten.
No, they all have it. Look it.
Do they?
Well,
I think it's same thing then, honoring like the first black coach in the Big Ten. I didn't catch it much like during the game. I just saw it and I was kind of like I was off away from the TV and I heard it in the background, but that's what it is.
I didn't even notice it, honestly.
Another comment by Grandpa Johnny on the game. He says, roll me over, lay me down, and do it again. That was what he texted me after the game.
He is not a Wisconsin fan.
Yeah.
And then
Fuck them.
Just random sports notes for Iowa. Baseball is getting started here real quick.
So they were, but now the team is on pause because they had 4 players test positive for COVID. And so I was reading a little bit on Twitter today, coming from one of the players that had allegedly tested positive. So him and the 3 other ones that came back positives had all had COVID earlier in the year, so that they were kind of in that stretch where it was thought that like you wouldn't be able to contract it again. So the tests that Iowa does like every day are just like the rapid ones. So 4 players tested positive on those, and they're like, well, I don't think I can get it. So they thought they were false positives, and then they all went out and got got their own COVID tests at like a different place that does the kind of the standard like much less like it has a much higher percentage of like accuracy with them, and they all came back as negative. So the players are saying that they were false positives, and they just are like asking like, hey, can we get tested again? Like we think these were false positives, like what is the harm? And basically I don't know if it's necessarily Iowa athletics or the Big Ten that's driving this, but essentially they're just not allowing them to get tested a second time, even though they're like showing them they had these other tests that showed as negative.
Well, I didn't hear that. That's real stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
And then the only other thing I can think of is the press conference the other day where they said they're bringing back the women's swimming and diving team and adding women's wrestling.
Well, not adding women's wrestling. They're exploring it. And the reason they said that is because as part of the lawsuit that was brought up for like, what? What are you looking at me like that for?
Nothing.
I read about this stuff,
No,
Luke.
no, that's... sorry. It was nothing.
As part of like the lawsuit that the women's swimming and those 4 women swimming and diving team members brought up, like in terms of Title IX and Iowa's compliance with it, their lawyer was kind of basically like looking at Iowa's stats and saying, not only do we think that like you're out of compliance by cutting women swimming and diving, but basically they're also saying like you're so far out of it that we think that you need to add another team just to kind of get back to that. And I don't know why Iowa kind of went along with the lawsuit, like challenged the lawsuit for as long as they did, because it only could bring them like negative publicity in a like 1.5 to 2 year stretch when like Iowa athletics has not exactly been a shining example of an athletic department out there. So then today, Barta, or not today, but Monday, when Barta came back and he said, "Yay, swimming and diving's back, it's forever." That was solely motivated by the threat of litigation, but they're not dropping the lawsuit right now. Like, they still want to see it through because they think that it's like kind of that whack. So that's what motivated Barta to say, we're exploring adding a women's wrestling team, because really they're just afraid that they're still going to continue to be sued.
We would be the best in the country in that as well, right?
What, losing lawsuits or being sued?
No, women's wrestling.
I think all three.
I'd
Stay hot.
Yeah,
Stay hot.
I'd be lying if I said I knew a whole lot about women's wrestling. I don't think that there's a whole lot of college teams that like have it right now, so I don't really know who is the best currently, but I know that Tom Brands is all in favor for it.
But isn't Iowa like one of the few states that has high school women's wrestling?
I think there's more than just a few, but yeah, I would. And actually, just this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago, out at the new Extreme Arena out in Coralville, like Iowa, or maybe it wasn't Iowa Wrestling, but like USA Wrestling and like another organization put together like a world like women's wrestling kind of tournament where like they picked captains and then the captains drafted a team and then they had duels against each other. So like it kind of shows that there's interest in the area and that like Iowa City is obviously a location where people think that like they're going to get kind of attention if like Iowa City is already hosting like national and kind of like world women's wrestling tournaments already.
Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would talk for several minutes about women's wrestling on this podcast, but here we are, and I'm kind of glad it's happening.
It was mostly just Stin.
Yeah, it was a conversation back and forth. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not even sort of.
Here, we can bring this fun question up. So we're thinking about getting new speakers in Van McCaffrey. Actually, we are getting new speakers and a new sound
radio
system. But we're deciding how much we want to ball out here. Because we're having one of our friends from when growing up do it for us. Should we... What kind of budget are we looking at, boys? Because he said cheapest would be like $250, but we could ball out for $1,000.
Depends on if Uncle Joe comes through with that another stimulus check.
If Uncle Joe comes through, we're getting field turf in there. We're putting in.
We're getting turf in there anyway. That'll be cheap. We just gotta find it. They say you have it. They say they have it at Walmart, but I don't know if that's what we want.
I think you'd probably have to order it online.
You know what? Let's just get some real sod and put it in the back.
You gotta water it every day.
Yeah. No, but seriously, what are you looking at?
I don't know. I said if you guys are willing, I'd ball out and go balls to the walls.
I don't know.
1,000?
I don't know what an amp does, but apparently we need 2 of them.
Yeah, but like I said, the van is 22 years old. What if we put $1,000 into it and then it dies?
Then we paid $1,000 to try to have a really good time in our old ass van.
But what if we did just like $500?
What if we didn't?
I think we need to find a middle ground here because I don't want to spend $333 on it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a discussion that we can have, probably not on the podcast.
Let's just Should
we start a GoFundMe?
Give Jacob one of our
Give
Jacob one of our credit cards and say, "Here, just do what you want."
Nose goes.
Keep buying until you hit the
I'll
limit.
rack up those points because you're paying me back. So
It's true.
Fuck that. All right. So now, are we gonna have the little conversation?
What conversation?
Trying to think
about the names we hate.
Not names. We did that already.
Names we hate.
Names of people we hate, or
types of people.
Types of people.
Trying to think if there's any more Iowa related stuff that we need to touch on real quick. Football. just got a commitment from a 3-star defensive end from Kansas. I believe.
Yeah, I did see that.
So he's now the second recruit in the 2022 class.
Did he know Arlen Bruce? Because I saw Arlen tweeted something about him.
They're both from Kansas. So.
Yeah, I know. That's why I just asked.
Yeah, so there's that. Besides that, nothing much really on the football front, I don't think.
Season tickets are out. Make sure to order yours. I'm going to be getting mine here shortly. All right. So, how do we want to do this? How do we want to go about this?
I'd say we just...
I think we just kind of make it a free-ranging conversation.
But yeah, I mean, we don't have to do a list or anything, I guess. Just... We'll start with you. We'll just go in a circle, and we'll go until we're out of them.
Oh, okay.
This is worst people in society, and I'm not talking like...
Hitler or Mussolini.
No, yeah, and I'm not talking like a specific like group or anything like that. This is like people's actions that piss you off, basically, in society.
Yeah, okay.
So, Luke, you want to start?
Luke, fire her up.
The people who don't do the little shit while driving, like using your blinker, driving in the left lane on a 4-lane.
That was I actually have it typed right here. I said, I don't mind the left lane cruiser. Because to me, it's not that big of a deal unless they're going exactly the same speed as the person on the right. That pisses me off when you get like two semis going next to each other and one doesn't go fast than the other because you can just go around them the other way.
I'm pretty sure it's a law you're not supposed to drive in the left lane.
Yeah, the left lane cruiser pisses me off.
It's also a law to not speed. So by nature, if you're using the left lane, you're probably breaking that law.
Yeah, but you're also supposed to, if you're passing somebody, I remember this, you're supposed to go at least 10 miles per hour over them.
Yeah, I'm with Luke on this.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Left lane cruiser sucks.
If they're not passing, like if they're just going,
it's the passing lane. It's called.
If they're going completely the same as somebody, that pisses me off. But if there's nobody in the right lane, it's not a big deal to just go in the right lane and go around them. Is that more work for you than going in the left lane and go around them? It's the same thing, just backwards.
I know there's a lot of things about when people drive that pisses me off. Not just left lane cruiser, but yeah, that's a good one. People that just suck at driving in general.
I knew one of you guys would have that, so I made sure to put that. I don't mind that.
Yeah, that pisses me. That is the reason for almost all of my road rage. So,
okay, One of mine is people who give workers guff for shit they can't control. Mm-hmm. Like, people that always bitch at the waitresses, like, about their food being bad. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, this is wrong, please take it back and get me what I ordered. But people that are, like, assholes about it, shit like that. And another one is kind of a modern example of that, is people who get in arguments with people at, like, gas stations and stuff about not wearing a mask. Like, if the person at the gas station asks you to wear a mask, it's just their job, and it's not like a personal attack on you. Like, just put on the fucking mask. It's not hard.
I agree.
It's a good one.
Stin?
People that, like, stand up on a plane, like, as soon as it lands. You know, like...
As if you're not going to be on it for 30 more minutes.
Yes. Basically just, like, people that don't understand how, like, lines or waiting work, but especially, like, on a plane. Like, when you... like, if you're at the back... But then, like, you stand up and kind of, like, try and rush forward to be the first one off. Well, guess what? Fucking everybody else in front of you has to go first. And then you clog up the aisle and you're trying to grab your shit out of the overhead bin. And it makes the process so much... Yeah, it's a fire alarm's going off somewhere in the building.
No, it's not. It's a backup alarm, isn't it? Yeah.
I hope so, because I'm not leaving.
Yeah. Keep going.
Basically just, like, people that don't understand how, like, lines work. Like, you make it a longer and more arduous process by, like, trying to be a dick and, like, rushing ahead instead of just waiting your turn and, like, going out when you should.
I agree, but you just always bring the knowledge with the vocabulary where it's arduous.
He's the Stephen A. of this show.
Jesus Christ. All right. Are you done talking about that? Okay. My next one, and I feel this is personally attacking two people in my family, but people who suck at ordering food at a restaurant. Yeah, shout out Mom and Danny.
See, another one of mine though was gonna be, well, this specifically was about you, who rushes people when they're ordering, like the waitress isn't getting paid to stand there and take our order.
Yeah, but it just, like, okay, it's one thing to get a menu and sit there for 5 minutes and look it over, and then when they come and you're still not ready. Sure, that sucks. That's stupid. But then there's also the stuff where it's like, oh, I can't decide, or like, oh, can I get this without this? Shit like that just pisses me off.
Agree to disagree on that
Yeah,
one.
well, I mean, I suppose there's a level to it. Like, if you're like, hey, can I get this burger but, like, without tomato on it? That's not really, like, that much. But if you're like, hey, can I get this but minus, like, 6 things and add that? Then you're just being an asshole.
No, then you just should stay home and eat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's... I can understand, like, there's different levels to the type of person. Like, if just a little bit, yeah, but a lot of it.
So Joey and I disagree a lot here early on.
Shocker.
One other one of mine is the person that thinks they're always right. Like, nothing makes me more mad than when I know something for a fact, or like I know a lot about something and I'm talking about it with someone and they're like, no, I don't think so. Like, I think this is right. And it's like, I could pick an argument with you, like a true fight, but I'm gonna just let this go.
You pick if you get drunk with us two, our dad and our brother, it turns into a shit show.
That's not even what I was thinking, but
I know, but it's true.
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Like what?
What?
Like what?
What do you mean?
What's an example of something? That
Well, I
all
mean,
of us...
I'm sure you don't remember because you were drunk.
Okay, then how do you remember?
Well, because I was less drunk.
Okay, that seems like a slippery slope.
It does, but
Okay, we don't need to air out grievances.
well, we're already off to a hot start. All right.
Okay. My next one, I'm gonna go with clout chasers. So specifically, there's like one thing that I saw the other day that just pissed me off. So everybody's seen like that news story about the lady that put Gorilla Glue in her hair because
Dumbass.
she's like, oh yeah, it'll be like hairspray, and couldn't get it out, had it in there for like a month, and then had to get some like surgery to get it out. And then today, or maybe it was like yesterday, I saw some TikToker accidentally put Gorilla Glue in their hair and was like, oh, now I can't get it out. As if, like, the whole goddamn world, like, did not already know what was going to happen, but you did it on TikTok because you're like, oh, a bunch of people will watch this. You're just a fucking dumbass douchebag for doing that. Like, obviously, you know, your head is going to be screwed up now because you put goddamn Gorilla Glue in there, and you saw the whole fucking story anyway, but now you're just like, oh, but I'm gonna get 10 million views on TikTok. Screw those people.
Yep. Got good call. I kind of want to space mine out. I guess my last two kind of go together. I have Chicago sports / Bulls fans.
I feel attacked.
Well, don't. It's not necessarily just the Cubs, but the Bulls and the Blackhawks are the worst.
Yeah.
Because they always get hype. Like, I follow a couple of Bulls fans, and they're just so ignorantly blind. Like, they think Derrick Rose would have been fucking Michael Jordan.
He had that one season.
Yeah, he had the one MVP season.
Which, another thing, absurd thing about Derrick Rose. That thing, I think you tweeted something about it. It was the Bulls all-time starting five versus the Lakers all-time starting five. That's not even fucking close. The Lakers all-time starting five would annihilate. You got Shaq, who's arguably the most dominant, like, over, like, a stretch. I'm not talking about all-time. Over a stretch of time, most dominant player of all time.
Kareem at the 4.
Kareem? That was without LeBron.
Yeah.
Kareem, Magic, Jerry West.
Yeah, that's not even...
Against Jordan,
Pippen, D. Rose.
Crazy hair. Rodman, and some...
Yeah, that wouldn't even be close. I did see a Michael Jordan stat the other day that I was like, damn. It was like Zach LaVine or something. I don't know. Some Bulls player scored 45 points for like the 7th time in their career or whatever. And the stat was that person was second all time in like the Bulls like records for that many 45-point games. Michael Jordan was first with like 74. It was absurd.
Yeah, he's good.
Rodman and D. Rose wouldn't make the bench on the Lakers all-time team.
Yeah,
maybe Rodman. You can make an argument for Rodman. But
Rodman knew what his role was.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
Yeah. No, I'm saying, like, he did one thing and he was, like, very, very
Elgin
good at
Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain. Like
LeBron.
Kobe.
Pau Gasol.
Kobe. No, wait.
Jeez.
Was Kobe not on that list? No, he had to be.
There's no way he was.
Who'd you say it was? Magic?
Magic, Jerry West. Oh, yeah, we just forgot Kobe. Magic, Jerry West, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe.
Okay.
I was going to say, it's not possible for Kobe to not be on that list.
Yeah, so we're running 9 deep before either of those Bulls make it on the Lakers team.
Yeah.
It's not so
So,
really close.
Chicago Bulls fans, Blackhawks fans in general.
Bears fans could also probably be grouped.
Yeah,
in there.
If they didn't have 85, what are they? An old franchise that suck.
I saw just an absolute brutal, like, hypothetical, or not really even hypothetical, just kind of like a ponderance question the other day. It was, what was, like, recently a worse Chicago sports moment? The Bears not drafting Patrick Mahomes or the White Sox trading Fernando Tatis?
Ooh.
I thought you were going to say double doink.
No, that's just horrible. But no, it's like
these are both
they basically
worse.
Yeah, they both like either gave up or missed like some of the best like the very best player and like one of the very best players like in their respective leagues.
You got to go Mahomes right now, but Tatis
or Watson, honestly, both of them.
Hey, they could still get Watson, poor bastard.
The thing about if they get Watson, that just absolutely kills me. They traded all this draft capital to move up one spot in the draft, and they don't take him. And now they're going to have to trade even more draft capital to go out and get him. So I kind of hope it happens.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, wow, that is just brutal for Chicago sports.
Yeah, but all right, who's up now?
Joey.
I'm not going to count this one, but I got Karen's on here.
Yeah, I've thought about just putting that as well.
And then, so Luke used to be a serious offender of this. People who at sporting events are just like loud and like excessively obnoxious towards players or refs.
That is correct.
I threatened to stop going to games with Luke because of the way he acted. And I'm not saying he was like, he wasn't even like yelling vulgar things. He was just yelling.
No, yeah, I never
stupid
like
shit. It was just like I was just kind of embarrassed to be there at times. So
correct.
And I mean, I'm the one that got him all of his tickets for basketball too. So
I have no shame in that. It wasn't. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't vulgar. It was just yelling.
Yeah. There's always a couple kids in the student section too, though, at basketball games that yell just dumb shit. Yeah, Austin's an offender at times as well.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. People that like don't just have like common courtesy.
Politeness, maybe?
Yeah, so just like, I don't know, like if you see somebody that like drops their shit all over the floor, like if you knock something out of somebody's hands and like you don't offer to help them, just like holding a door for somebody, moving over on the sidewalk when like somebody else is coming, just like everyday things that you can do that like does nothing to affect how your like day is going to go, to just like make it simpler for other people. Like people that just don't share in any of that are just kind of scumbags, because it doesn't hurt you to just like try and be like a better person to somebody else. And just like sometimes people are just like oblivious to the fact that you don't have to like go out of your way, but there's just like little everyday things that people can do, and they just like choose to ignore them.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was going around Facebook last week. There's this editorial in the Washington Post by a Iowa resident, and it was after COVID Kim lifted everything, you know. And she was just ripping into the state, and she was tearing down like the Iowa nice mentality and how it's just a myth. And I'm like, all right, well, generally in Iowa, small towns at least, people seem to be fairly friendly with all of their neighbors. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And then I said, it's mainly the big cities that you go to where you don't really say hi to people you see walking down the street. You don't wave to people.
That's not even here in Iowa though.
Yeah, I know, but like she was just tearing down Iowa nice, and this one lady commented back on Facebook, and I didn't even read it because I knew I was just going to get pissed because she lived in Cedar Rapids. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
whatever.
Minnesota has the Minnesota nice thing too. I mean,
kind of more like
every state says that about their.
I don't think people in New York say that. I think it's kind of just like a Midwest thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I mean, it isn't true to an extent. Not everybody obviously is nice.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It's fine. It's whatever. All right, my turn.
Yep.
All right. I don't like people who do gimmick diets or promote it. In my opinion, if you do the keto diet, you're an absolute fool.
You see, but you can't. I mean, maybe it's somebody that's tried a lot of different things.
Yes, but
and it's easy. I know because like we've both obviously lost weight just by like working out and eating healthy. But
It's not hard.
I mean, it's not the same for everybody, though. I
don't know. That's that's kind of a weird one where, like, you find the thing that works best for you. Like, there isn't, like, a definite, like, this is the best way to lose weight. Like, this is the best thing to eat. There's so many different, like, philosophies. Like, people have varying success doing other things that I'm not going to... Unless, like, you're buying, like, a pill that says, lose 20 pounds in 30 days don't change your lifestyle. Like, you're an idiot if you do something like that.
I'm not saying it... Like, it works. Like, yeah, and people are looking for the fast, easy way to lose weight. What I don't like is that it's not just like you could lose with the keto if you do it right. You could lose like 20 pounds in like a month and a half, super easy, right? But that's not because once you start eating carbs again and like consuming carbs, you're gonna gain all the weight back, and then you're gonna be miserable because you're probably gonna gain more weight than you previously were. And then there's these skinny white pricks who just fucking promote the shit out of it. As if it's some...
I mean, though, like, if somebody's doing a diet, they're trying to better themselves, so I'm never going to fault somebody for that.
Correct.
I don't care what diet it is. And to say that everybody that does the keto diet will gain their weight back is just not true.
If you start eating carbs again, yes,
not
you
if
will.
you, Luke, you can lose weight. You can do it to lose the weight and then, like, change your diet so that you're not... Because presumably you're not eating shit like you were before you started the keto diet. So you'll still... You might gain a little weight back, but you won't... Unless you start eating, like, just straight shit again, you're not going to gain it all back, as long as you're still exercising, too.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is sort of like my other one as well. The person because I was just at a comedy show last week, and there was this lady in the back who the whole time was just, like, trying to be the center of the show herself. She would just, like, yell stuff when it was quiet, and, like, the first couple times the comedian, like, went back and forth with her, but then she just kept doing it the whole time. And she even came up towards the end to... I don't even know what she was doing up by the stage, but it's just like, really, this is not your thing. Like, why are you trying to be the center of attention? And I know from going to Luke's show choir things when he was in high school, there was always people in the crowd that would do that too, and I'm like... You're just such a loser for doing that.
Yeah, but that's just like the show choir mentality. Like, it's not just random people that do it, it's whole groups. I know what you're saying. I'm not a big fan of that either, but all right. Sten?
We could go all night on this.
Yeah,
I have two left.
I've got one.
I don't even have a list. I'm kind of just making these up, like, as I think about it. Parents at sporting events that think that their child is like the next Kobe Bryant or something, and then are just like screaming the entire time, like berating like the refs or the umpires or something, and just like, especially when the kids are really young, let them just play the sport. It's not about you. Fucking just go there and enjoy watching them, like, have fun. You don't have to be out there screaming at them to do better the whole time and, you know, giving the coach shit and, like, chirping the officials. It's not worth it. Those people suck. Like, you're taking the enjoyment out of it for, like, your kids. If, like, you have to be sitting there, like, on the sideline or and, like, you can hear your parents just, like, being idiots, and you have to, like, put your head down and be like, why, you know?
Yeah. I agree with that. It's fine. This one is kind of funny, I think. Wannabe SoundCloud rappers, where everybody has a SoundCloud link in their bio.
Yeah.
And it seems like somebody who's just kind of out of high school, could be a freshman in college, but doesn't really have anything working for them in their lives. They just want to be SoundCloud rappers.
Well, it's also like if one person on Twitter has like a random viral tweet, almost all the time the next tweet below it is them again saying, check out this. It's like
that's all. I always check for that.
It's either that or it's like, well, you're here, like, support my friend who makes like handmade clay earrings.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that shit.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good one.
And I know a couple people from the past that have done that, which it's just hilarious. But all right, Joey.
And
what's
then
your last one?
My last one is just like judgy people. Like, I don't know, a lot of
people who judge.
My big thing is like, if somebody's doing something that makes them happy,
Yeah, let
more
them be
power
happy.
to them. But then you got people that are like, they don't say anything to them, but they just like talk shit about them, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Just, if somebody's doing something that they like, if it makes their day better, fuck it.
Yeah, I
go
think
right ahead.
That's much more of like a younger people type of thing.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
once you get like, especially like out of high school and like even once you're finished with college, you're like, who the fuck cares? Like, if that person's doing something that makes them happy, why do you have to shit on their parade and be like, oh, you're an idiot for doing that? Like, let their happiness be their happiness, and don't let it like affect you to the point where like it's like you shouldn't have to go out of your way to put somebody down if they're doing something that they enjoy.
Yeah, that's just like this podcast, actually. Like, I could give a shit if anybody listens to it. But,
we appreciate it if you do, though.
But I like doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If somebody gave me a hard time about it, I'd say,
Yeah,
I
literally,
literally
like,
don't care
yeah.
what you think.
People ask like, oh, many people listen to this, and I say, I don't know, but I just think it's kind of fun to talk about, Iowa sports every once in a while. So that's
it gives
why I
us
do
a
it.
voice.
And that's just honestly a great mentality to have with everything. If you don't care what other people think, you'll be a lot happier.
Yeah, generally, I don't care what people think
Oh,
about me.
Absolutely not. You should
Yeah.
see some of the clothes I wear out in public.
Joey's wardrobe is the Goodwill sales clearance rack.
Yes, sir.
You can find some good shit at Goodwill and Salvation Army.
Yeah, you can. I'm not ashamed to shop there at all.
The sweatshirt that I brought here tonight is a Goodwill find, and I wear it. It's probably like my most worn sweatshirt. It's like a mid-2000s Bud Light crew neck. It's awesome.
God. Okay.
Anybody else got one?
Yeah.
I have one more.
All right,
I do
you
too.
two go.
Anybody who tries to shove their pyramid scheme down your throat.
I can't
So-
believe that one made it this long.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the pyramid scheme thing, but then I had the judgy people one
Yeah.
on there. I'm like, God.
Yeah. Okay. My thing is like, people like with pyramid schemes will be like, "Hey, I went to high school with you. I haven't talked to you in 10 years."
Hold up. Moment of silence. It's 9/11.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's just like, if you're doing it and it makes you happy, yeah, sure, but don't like reach out to me if we haven't talked in 8 years to then be like, "Hey, do you want to be part? Like, do you want to join my like beach body or like Arbonne or I don't fucking even know. Arbonne, I think is what it's called. Like, just don't."
First of all, you're calling me fat.
Could I take 10 minutes of your day to talk about
I don't know.
Amway?
I guess that kind of just
sat
goes.
through that one for like a lot of days.
Yeah, just like people that are, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be like pyramid schemes, but like people that are just trying to like take advantage of you, like for their own monetary gain outside of like being like genuinely interested in like how your life has been going, I suppose.
Yeah. I just thought of one, but I have Nebraska, Texas fans on here just
You
because
could've-
they're so delusional.
You just said Nebraska, Texas populations as well.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I'm going to go with this one. When you were in high school and there was always that weird group of kids that would just try and be funny and like disruptive during class and stuff. Oh, that just drives me nuts. Like, I hated high school as much as like hated high school classes as much as anybody. But like, you don't have to be a dick during it.
Yeah.
Granted, was I a dick 1 or 2 times that I can recall? Oh, absolutely. But every freaking day,
Yeah.
my God.
My whole thing in any class, any school, any classes was just to sit there, make as little noise as possible, and just get out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, and most of the times, like the kids that were like the ones being like the jackasses during class, for lack of a better term, were also the ones to be like, "This teacher sucks. Like, I hate them. They're so mean." And I'm just like, if you just show them respect and are not an idiot, they will be nice to you, and like you will not have problems. But you're the dumbass that's like standing up and throwing pencils across the room.
Yeah.
That's just kind of in life in general. Like, if for the most part, I'm not going to say it's without fail, but like a lot of times, if people have exception with others, it's because like they're kind of just like douchebags or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you just show people like the respect that they deserve on a daily basis, you generally will not have problems with people.
Correct.
Man, we could go all night on life advice too.
Yeah, I feel like we have
Just how to be a good person because we're all
HTR After Hours, start a new pod.
we're all such good people.
Yeah. Stand up people.
We're gonna have to start a life advice podcast.
I'd be down.
Don't
be a Hawkeye fan. Don't be a Twins fan.
Don't be a
Vikings fan.
Don't be a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
Being a Steelers fan has been pretty good for my whole life. So.
Yeah, except your QB is a rapist.
And bad at driving a motorcycle.
You know what? We're not all perfect.
That's not.
You sound awfully judgy.
I'm saying that in reference to driving the motorcycle. I want to be clear about that.
Oh, so you're accepting
I can't take it back.
accepting the raper.
He is a raper. That's a fact.
You like Kobe Bryant still, don't you?
Oh, don't. He was
Austin.
innocent.
Yeah, he was acquitted.
Yeah. The glove did not fit.
I don't know. Let's get off this topic. There's no good way to approach this.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
Fuck Nebraska.
Do you want to record next week too? Because there's only going to be Penn State in between.
I'd be fine with sitting a week out.
I don't know. See what the old creative juice
See how the weather is.
Up.
We could always do... Shut up, Joey.
Hey, we almost didn't make it here one time for the fucking...
Getting home was the bigger problem.
Yeah.
I had to spend 20 minutes pushing the goddamn car out of a snowdrift.
It was the biggest blizzard of the winter so far, so... But...
Yeah.
Oh.
For any of our NASCAR fans out there, R.I.P. to the king, Dale Sr., who passed away at the Daytona 500 some years ago on this day.
2021, maybe?
Doc Hudson, the king?
Is that the guy from Cars?
Yeah. Nah, Dale Sr.
You guys stupid, Joey.
Space Cowboy is a real big fan of Dale Sr., so I know that today hits him extra hard. Also, he had a cat that died on the same day.
Thinking of you, Space Cowboy.
Oh, that's fine. He's mile high right now in Colorado, so...
Oh, yeah.
Is he?
That's
Yeah.
what that comment was today. All right.
Hey.
All right.
I'm outta
Well, thanks for listening to another episode of the Hawkeye Tailgate Report. You can subscribe to the show on Podbean, iTunes, and... What are you doing? And Spotify. You can follow us all on Twitter and Instagram. The show's Twitter and Instagram is HTR_pod. Mine is Myers_Luke. Joey's is Joe Mama 2196. And Austin's is Myers Austin. Thanks for listening, everybody, and go Hawks.